Thank you, Hendrik. That was really interesting, and it goes to show the potential that's there and how it's changing very rapidly. COVID has changed it. It was very interesting to see that the recreational interest is going down a bit, but the commercial continues to rise. We have here some fantastic heavyweights of the industry, and it's a great privilege to be on the panel with them. I'd like to start with Mark, if I could, from the Barcelona Drone Center. Mobile technology will be a key driver for the development of the new market verticals, such as drone delivery. Perhaps you could talk a bit about the mechanics of drone delivery here.
Yeah. Sure, Philip. With radio communications, we're limited to fly the drone in line of sight from the pilot. While if we use mobile technology, we could be all here commanding a drone flying on the other side of the world. So I think this is a game changer, and this unleashes the potential of drone delivery, which is a transport that makes a whole lot of sense, right? Because if you want to move to things in 2 dimensions in the ground, you may encounter plenty of obstacles. The ground is plenty of obstacles. You may encounter geographical and human obstacles such as mountains, valleys, rivers, cities, traffic jams, right? So if you just fly some meters above the ground, what you encounter is a piece of atmosphere, a layer of atmosphere, completely unpopulated. And you can go from point A to point B in a straight line in a very efficient way and very fast. And society is asking every day to have things straight away. If we ask somebody, when do you want to have your parcel delivered, in 3 days or today, the answer is going to be obvious, right? So in this sense. One more thing is the economical part, right? The cost per item of air freight is significantly more expensive compared to ground transportation, which means that by now, the only applications that make sense for this kind of technology are the payloads with high added value, like emergency products or high-end products. But I'm sure with the pass of the time, as time goes by, this economical barrier will surely decrease.
Brilliant. Thank you. Hendrik, 2021 is the year of regulation, isn't it, in many ways? There's a lot been happening in the States, a lot been happening in Europe. Who's got the edge? Who's got the regulatory part right, do you think, at the moment?
Thanks. It's a good question. And as you said, 2021 is the door opener, I must say, where the European Union and the FAA established some very robust frameworks for the drone industry. The whole thing started around 2012 with the FAA Modernization Act. Almost all countries today followed and established a robust framework. The problem is that this framework is mainly good or applicable for easy and standard drone operation, not for complex operations. And the industry and the added value comes only with complex drone operations. And what we see now is that we have a robust framework. Everybody, European Union and USA are leading with it, but we also have other countries like Singapore, Australia, Malaysia. They are also doing a very good job, or did a good job so far. But what we still miss is standards. Because if you're not coming from the aviation industry and you want to fly complex mission with a drone, for them it's a big hurdle to understand how to comply with the regulatory framework. So you need standards to help them to write manuals, to apply at an authority, aviation authority, to operate drones. So countries do good who help people with implementing regulations, establishing standards, and establishing a testing environment, like here in Spain with Mark's company, BCN Drone Center. You need to test. You need to learn how drones are in the air and how to be in compliance with safety measures. So no country is leading. So far, everybody have the same challenges now.
They do indeed. Nicholas, I'd like to hear more about the convergence of 5G, edge, and artificial intelligence. Perhaps you could give us some ideas of some commercial enterprise opportunities there.
Yes, and hi, good afternoon, everybody. At Unmanned Life, we have created this autonomous robotics orchestration platform. So we are able to control fleets of autonomous drones, different type of autonomous mobile robots, a combination of them. So we leverage the network, and 5G is a technology that will make it all come together. The intelligence at the edge, the AI that makes the processes more intelligent. Without going further than this morning, we launched with Telefonica today, Telefonica Unmanned Security Services. With our platform and together with Telefonica, we go together to the market to offer drone-enabled solutions, in this case for the security and surveillance sector. And our strategy is really to do that with different type of telco operators. We're working with more than 10. Use cases we are doing now today in the city of Vienna with Magenta Telecom. Emergency response in the Danube River, more than 200 people fall every year into the river. They need to deploy every time 30 people, 30, to do the search and rescue. By deploying autonomous drones to do the search and rescue, we are bringing down to 9 people the intervention. So you free up firefighters that they can be deployed for other purposes and protect the citizens differently. So that's a concrete application on the conjunction of AI for the intelligent decision making, 5G for the very precise image processing, yeah, and the edge.
It seems to me we're making a lot of progress in a short space of time then, really, that one. Elena, thank you for coming all the way from the States to be here today. It's great.
My pleasure.
Given your expertise in 5G and the work that MITRE is doing in the Open Generation 5G Consortium, can you tell us what your challenges are and how you're going about meeting that with the consortium?
That's a very interesting question. So the challenges, and we've heard a little bit from the previous panel and from my co-panelist here, is that drones is a huge vertical, and it's one that has lots of regulations, lots of players, and it's almost like an overlay if you think to the 5G networks. And that's what we are focusing, because we see, first of all, that there was an interest from everyone, from, and I work for MITRE, which is a research and development entity for the US government, and we saw from the Department of Energy all the way to the rest of the agencies that we serve. And in the private sector, there was also huge interest on developing drones for the applications that have been mentioned. So the challenge, that's why we put the consortium, because we thought that bringing everyone together and bringing them to work in these problems that are really hard, because we have now deliveries, and we have a lot of the things, a lot of the applications that are ground-based. We want to enable that with drones. So how do you do that? How do you fly them safely? How do you develop the business case? And all that, we thought, especially for those hard-to-solve cases, and we, for example, have test ranges now in the consortium that are over 100 miles path range, where we are going to test mobility use cases, we are going to test special payload use cases, and all these, like I said, really hard problems to solve. And the trick is coming all together. We have big operators, we have big drone manufacturers, we have a lot of the ecosystem that comes together to develop this.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, Mark, so if I was a betting man, what would be a good bet for the first commercial drone delivery operations in Barcelona? When do you think we're going to see that? And other parts of the world, but let's look at Barcelona at the moment.
Yes, I think we are facing several challenges before we see this deployed at large scale. Maybe the first challenge is the technological readiness of drones. We have our drones ready, but do we need them to have a remote identification? Do we need to have like sense and avoid systems? Second question would be the social acceptance. Is society ready to get their parcels delivered with a drone? Another question would be, are cities prepared for that? Will we have to redesign, readapt our rooftops, our balconies, our windows? Will we have to develop a vertiport or a drone port in the middle of the city? And the most important one is regulation. We come from a scenario in which in Europe, each member state of the European Union had its own regulation in which it was explicitly prohibited to transport goods or people. Now we're lucky that on January 1st this year, the new European drone regulation came into force. And finally, for the first time, is contemplating this drone delivery for the first time. So the hard law has been published. Now we're waiting for the soft law to see how we're going to follow this criteria step by step. So once we fulfill all these challenges, I think we're going to see finally drones delivering parcels in Barcelona and other cities in the world. I have the feeling that's going to be not before 3 years for sure, but I have the feeling as well that it's going to be something really progressive. We're going to start seeing deliveries in rural areas where the operation risk is low, and slowly we're going to increase this risk and finally see all these parcel deliveries in big cities.
That's really interesting. Presumably, I mean, the community has a very important part to play in this because they will say what they like and what they don't like, and things will have to change. So it's going to take a long time, isn't it, before we actually get to a mature commercial drone delivery industry, I think. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, that's my views. Hendrik, who's moving faster, the mobile operator deployments of 5G or the commercial enterprise demand for mobile-enabled drone applications?
The answer is very clear. The enterprises are naturally very slow compared to the an average very young drone market. The enterprises definitely struggle, of course, first with the regulation, and second, they struggle with the knowledge because they are not aware of the huge added value a drone can bring to their business. The drone companies who are currently existing, I can tell you they are definitely ready to take off. They prepare already for the new remote ID regulations coming from the US, and they are already starting to equip their drones with 5G modules, so they are ready to take off compared to the enterprises.
That's really interesting. So yeah, so everybody's getting the hardware ready in place for when the time comes. Okay. Nicholas, let's talk about the challenges. Can you cite the biggest hurdle or a single major hurdle that you think needs to be solved for the convergence of drones and mobile technologies?
Definitely. I think I will focus on two.
Right.
The first one, of course, is connectivity, and it was mentioned before, so I will not go into the details. But if we think a bit further, if we think, okay, we will have drones, autonomous drones deployed at scale that will be going, for example, in between two countries in border zones. How do you switch from one edge cloudlet to another? So this type of dynamic offloading is something that is being solved now, and that will benefit the scalability of the industry itself. Another part is how do you optimize between in the network slicing, how do you optimize the different services, and what do you prioritize these services for? So there are challenges that are being worked on, and the more we progress in the roadmap, the more they will be solved to reach commercial deployment by 2024, as indicated by the European Union.
Right. Okay, brilliant. I mean, talking about the European Union, EASA, the European Aviation Safety Agency, has just done a poll of European citizens in 6 cities, and they showed people in those cities, what drone deliveries could be, what urban air mobility could be like, and 83% said this is something they would like to see. So social acceptance, in theory, could be quite high in Europe. I wonder what the situation is like in the States, and how do we get not people just to support drones,
Yeah.
but actually want them. So we move from a technology push to a community pull industry, which is what we need to have, I think.
Yeah, and that's certainly, there's certainly always the good side and the not so good side of things. And we have been focusing on those things that help the public and help society. Definitely, for example, one of the things that everyone loves there in the US is drone as a first responder. So instead of having to send a human being to a dangerous situation, what if you can send a drone? And those are the things that really will enable a positive societal view of drones. You know, what if instead of delivering a package in 2 hours, I cannot deliver it and in a green way in 1 or less? And, you know, there is always, you know, people sometimes think about, oh, you know, nuclear technology is so bad, but it's so bad if you do it for bombs, and it's so good if you do it for radiation machines that cure cancer. And I think what we are looking at is really working on those cases that are good for society and will enable a good use of the technology. It's not the technology, good or bad on itself, is the use, and we want to focus, we at MITRE certainly are focusing on those use cases that will be a positive societal impact.
Yeah, it's great to have a good story to tell, isn't it? And perhaps you can tell us what's been happening at the Barcelona Drone Center. Have you got a couple of good use cases that have come out of there that you think are going to be particularly strong in terms of showing people how it's going to work and showing the regulators what they can do?
Sure, yes. Like as a drone center, we're privileged to see every day like the state of the art of the industry, because we have like many stakeholders passing by and doing tests of this technology. But one of these use cases would be one of our clients, a big NGO, who realized that many people actually live and not too far away from big cities, but due to the lack of good road infrastructure, they live in a pretty isolated way. Because in Europe, for example, we used to when we think about 100 kilometers, we tend to think that this can be covered in 1 hour drive. But in many countries, 100 kilometers means 1 day walk. And this is catastrophic when it comes to emergencies like somebody needs blood, somebody needs painkillers, somebody needs snake antidote, these kind of things. So these guys realized that, and they came to our facilities to further test this technology to be able to deliver all these high-value products to these isolated communities.
Brilliant. Thanks. Hendrik, now let's just... What excites you about coming here, seeing what mobile network operators are doing, knowing what the drone industry is doing? What are the sort of projects, programs, possibilities that excite you particularly, seeing the convergence of these two industries? What are the possibilities you think are most interesting?
Philip, I can name you hundreds of case studies which bring an added value or good use to the industry. I have a favorite case study or use case is, I don't know if you know a drone in a box. This is a drone in a box. And for example, if you use this drone in a box solutions for wind turbines. I mean, most of the wind turbines are connected. This is what I know, or I heard. You can just place there also the drone in the box. And when you program it before, saying, okay, you start every week a mission, the drone starts to connect with the wind turbine, the wind turbine stops, and the drone can do the mission, inspect the wind turbine, and send directly the data via a cloud to an operator sitting in the head office or headquarter of this wind turbine company. So this is one of my favorite use cases, and it's possible. Also today, it's possible to enable this and to implement this. So yeah, there are much more. And at the end, and I'm pretty sure that all kind of BVLOS missions, this was a BVLOS use case, they will only be reliable with 5G in the future. Right. And I hope that the traditional aviators from the aviation authorities accept this situation and go more into these new technologies instead of remaining or using the old traditional technology for communication between drones and people.
I'm going to pick up on one point you mentioned that. Eleanor, I'd like to ask you this one. What early best 5G applications do you think are available for the drone industry? What first use cases do you think drones can use the 5G networks for?
So really drones will be empowered by 5G networks, by the 5G connectivity and the 5G ecosystem. I mean, can you imagine the integration of both worlds? There is already over 5 billion people connected there. If they can interact somehow in delivery services and in other things with drones, and we get all this integrated, it will be fabulous. So definitely all the emergency case aspects, all the high value delivery aspects, I see those as the first ones that will be more critical to have developed, to have rolled out. In a sense, the connectivity piece is where I see the opportunity, because many of these applications will require some of the capabilities that 5G can deliver in terms of low latency, in terms of bandwidth, so you can perform critical operations with drones and do things that you cannot even imagine or do today. So this integration is critical. We are working on that very actively as part of the OpenGen consortium to make it happen, because we really believe that putting all those together, such as the GSMA has done it with GSMA, and finding the synergies is what is going to make a kick-off for these really special, ultra-reliable, low latency, and high-end use cases.
Thank you. Yeah, it is all about partnerships, isn't it?
Yes.
Making sure that we're all working together. Nicholas, I'm going to ask you, Nicholas, to round things up now. So what's the message? What's the one or two messages that people should go away from this event clear about? Not just the industry people, but the public. What should be the one or two things?
Yes. So first, this is not going to happen from one day to another. It will be step by step, incremental, as we have seen in the car industry or aviation industry. And two, this industry can bring a lot of positive impact in society, safety, sustainability, and this will help us also achieve a better and safer and fairer society also by bringing these new technologies to reality. That's my message.
That's really interesting, because I do think this is a very different industry from industries that have gone before. We have a fantastic opportunity here to create something new, and create something new on the basis of values, not merely what the industry is doing, which is great, but it should be something that everybody has a part of. If you're part of the community, you can have a part of this industry. And this is what makes it so exciting and new and different, because I do believe that this is something we've never seen before. Was that okay? So on that note, I think it's probably a good time to stop. Thank you very much indeed for your attendance, and thank you for watching. Thank you. And thank you everybody here.